welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. I am just cleaning up the mess from last week when we went out to the Whipsaw Trail with the Story Till Now and Jeep BC. The Jeep got pretty dirty, so before I started this weekend's project, I wanted to give it a good clean and get all the crud off. And something that I keep noticing is the debris, the rocks, and these little things that fall off the trees getting stuck between the fenders and the actual body panel. So, as always, I did a little research, read what other Jeep owners are doing on the JL forums, came across a couple YouTube videos, and I thought, well, I'd give this solution a try myself and let you guys know what my experience is with it, just like any of the mods. So what I've got here, and I will put a link down in the description, as with any product I usually have on the channel, I try to give you guys a link down below so you can go find it. But this is called Trim Lock Rubber Tubing Seal. Basically just like a rubber tubing that is 0.276 inches in diameter. I will put the right size one down in the description. But apparently I just take this and use one of my nylon trim panel tools and kind of wedge it in between the fender and the body panel. And that's supposed to really help keep the rocks, specifically the rocks, because the rocks really kind of chip up the paint. But I have all these cedar trees above my house, and these little orange things are just constantly stuck in between my fender and the body. And I have to like vacuum them out and pull the fender down and all that. So I'm gonna try installing some of this, and hopefully that will help keep that debris out. But before we get started, let's give the Jeep a quick bath. One thing that I still can't figure out a great solution for is keeping the soft top clean. On my JK, I was just like, whatever, it's always dirty, it's always gonna look a little brown. I was hoping on the JL to keep the soft top a little newer looking, at least for a little while, and I was washing it and I'm just scrubbing it with my mitt, I even tried using like a snow removal brush, but nothing really gets that dirt right out of the soft top. So if you guys have any suggestions for me, I would love to hear what they are. Maybe I'll give some of them a try in a future video and see which one works best. Leave me some comments. I'd really appreciate your suggestions. Let's go install this rubber True Lock tubing, whatever it is, on the Jeep and just see how that goes. All right, let's pop this open. This is 25 feet in length, which I'm pretty sure will be plenty to do all four fenders. We're gonna do the front and the back fenders because they both are fairly problematic. Let's get this out of here and see just how many feet we need for each fender. So not much to it. It's hollow in the center, which I think is gonna allow us to compress this down. I think I'll just use one of these. It's got a couple different ends, one a little bit more pointy, and just use this to kind of poke it down into the fender. So I just measured out the front fender. It's just under 40 inches to do the front fender. I would cut this on the Jeep though, because you want it to be exact. But you're gonna need about 40 inches for each front fender, which is gonna be about 80 inches a total. And for the back fender, each one is going to need about 58 inches or just under 58 inches. But once again, trim it on the Jeep. Don't trim it beforehand because you wanna have it line up exactly to edge. All total, you're only gonna use about 16 or 17 feet of the 25, so you should have a little bit extra. I don't know what you'd use this for, but there's some extra in there. So I am going to run this all the way to the front, in front of the hood latch. I'm just gonna take my trim tool and we're gonna work it in. I'm gonna put this one in. I'm gonna put the leading side in a little bit tighter. It's gonna kind of squish in between the fender, just so it holds it in place nicely. I'm gonna wrap it under the hood latch, and we're going to press it in underneath. And if you push down on the fender, it gives it just another millimeter or so of space to kind of tuck it in. All right, so once you get it through to the other side, you can start tucking it through your long stretch between the fender and the body. Now, I'm not gonna push this in as far as it goes. I'm just gonna give it a light tuck so that it's that it's holding it in place, because if I stick it in too far, I think it's gonna lose some of its purpose by not, you know, you'll still be able to get rocks and other junk stuck in there. So I'm just gonna lightly push it in here. And it's probably about half of it is sunk between the fender and the body. And I'm just holding the fender down, just a little bit of pressure to help that tuck in. And then when I let go, it's gonna hold it nicely in place. All right, so we'll just finish this off. This is really quick and easy, but I didn't pre-cut this before. Like I said, I wanna pre-cut, I wanna cut it after I've done it so that I've got the exact right length. We'll just drape this over and follow this along the body and the fender, trying to keep it from having any dents in it by putting it along the top and the bottom and not along the actual edge facing out. That way it looks as OEM as possible. And so I think I'm gonna run this to the bottom of the vent, or the faux vent grill here. And I think that'll give it sort of the nicest OEM stopping point. You don't really need to go any lower because there isn't really a gap down below here. So we'll just finish it off. This is probably the tightest spot. So if you just push the fender, keep pushing the fender down a little bit, these trim removal tools really help, and they're not gonna scrape up your plastic and your paint. And I'm just gonna get it nicely wedged in here. It does help that this is a warm day and it's making everything move around a little bit easier. But I'll put a link to these down in the description below if you want to pick up a set. I think it was only like 20 bucks or something for a huge set of them, and I used them as well in the other video where we pulled off the dash to install the front facing camera. So they do come in handy anytime you need to do anything. You don't want to scratch any paint or trim or plastic or anything like that, to have these nylon trim tools. Just working it in along the bottom. And if you play with it for a few minutes, it's going to, you know, you'll get it in there and it looks very OEM. Before you finish it off, just put your thumb where the panel is. I'm gonna take my trusty everything scissors, because they cut everything, and give it a little snip. And then we'll just finish that off and tuck that in with that side vent. And I think that will hold in place unless I rip this fender off. So I guess that would be one reason why you'd want to have some extras. If you ever pull one of your fenders off-roading, well, and this comes out, you can put a fresh piece on. All right, same thing for the back, but we're gonna start here down by the bottom of the door, right where it starts to get wider, and there is still a rock in there. Also useful for pulling rocks out of your fender liner or your fender. And we're just gonna start it there, and I'll drape it over the fender just so it holds it in place. And this one is easier to get started, except I can't do it left-handed. And we're just gonna pull the fender away and give it a little push on both the top and the bottom side, and just wedge it in along as we go. All right, as we get close to the bottom, I'm gonna line this up where my body panel, which is painted white, lines up or sort of transitions over to the black part. I'm gonna put my left thumb on it because obviously I can't cut with these with my right, and just mark it. Once again, my everything scissors, also known as tin snips. And we'll just finish rolling this in between the body and the fender. Let's give it a little extra tuck on the bottom there to secure it in place. And if you just take a few minutes to kind of play with it, you can make this look very even across the entire fender, so you don't have any sort of pressed in spots or spots that are too far in or too far out. So just take your time, take a few extra minutes to get it looking nice and tidy, and you should be good. So there you go, guys. Super simple mod. This maybe takes about 15 minutes to complete, and definitely reduces your headaches when you're trying to clean out these here. If you enjoyed this video, as always, leave a like, and don't forget, smash that subscribe button. New videos every week, mods and off-roading. I'll see you guys soon in the next upload.